Alright guys, for this next news bit, I'm going to try and condense it a little bit because there's a lot with Microsoft and Sony both taking digs at themselves over this Activision acquisition. We're going to start off with Microsoft. They got a couple articles. It's a little bit much, but I'm going to try and rapid fire style this. The first one being Microsoft is admitting its games are worse than Sony's when it comes to first parties, which is no surprise. Honestly, if you compare the two, it seems like, you know, if you ever think about it as gold, if you have to cipher through the gold, I feel like Sony is ciphering and Microsoft's just taking the dirt home and rummaging through it and finding certain gems and putting out certain shit. And I mean, that's the result. You have to kind of nitpick, and I feel like Sony takes in pretty much gold every time. Microsoft takes in anything, and mostly indies at this point. So I don't know. I feel like that's a true statement, to be honest. They don't really have much. But then they go on to say that Call of Duty gamers are neither special nor unique because of their spending habits, and it just doesn't make any sense. Because if you're gonna compare, you're talking about the FPS giant, by the way. It's Call of Duty. It's the biggest FPS game, and you're gonna try and say it's no different from Overwatch or Apex or Valorant, whatever the case may be, because it has the same amount of people buying skins. That's ridiculous. Okay, I'm glad that it's a you know, it's not an overwhelming majority like, oh, Call of Duty spends way more on skins than Overwatch. I'm glad it's not like that. I'm glad it's all equal pretty much, because it's not everybody is up to be a gaming gambler, you know. So I don't know. I feel like that's just BS as hell. I don't think, and to say that they're not special or unique is just such a slap in the face to the Call of Duty community. Like, you guys aren't special at all. You know, I know you guys all buy this game and like in massive robes, but you're not that special. You're not giving us a lot of money. You know, you're giving us the same amount of extra money as those companies. You're not special. You know, that is a slap in the face. But then it goes on to say that Microsoft, they think that Nintendo offers a broader range of mature content. They go on to list a bunch of games that are on Xbox. Makes no sense, and some of them actually are on Xbox Gamepass. And then they have Bayonetta 3 and what was the other one? It was Shin Megami Tensei 5, which came out last year. Those two are rated M. I get it. They have sexual content, blood and gore, whatever the case may be. But when the majority of your statement included games that are either made by Xbox or on Xbox Game Pass, that's just baffling. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Phil Spencer goes on to say he believes buying games won't be replaced by subscription services and cloud gaming, which honestly is a no-brainer. I don't think subscription services are really there yet. There's just so many and people have to choose, and it's not there. In cloud gaming, we don't have the Uber internet speeds worldwide to really make that a thing. So that makes sense. That's believable. If we switch gears to Sony, they're claiming Microsoft's true strategy is to make PlayStation like Nintendo, which honestly doesn't make sense to me personally at all, because I mean, if you're talking about closing them off a little bit, like say Microsoft takes Activision, they have Overwatch 2, they have Call of Duty, they have all of which comes with it, and they garner everybody over to Game Pass versus buying the game on PS5, right? That could kind of close them off a little bit, even if it's not an exclusive, you know, like it's on PlayStation, but nobody plays it on PlayStation, it's all on Game Pass, right? Then maybe it, you know, they would still focus on the first party games that are much better than Nintendo's. You know, they wouldn't be Nintendo. You know, Nintendo is a very family friendly company. I don't understand the comparison. Nintendo and Sony will never be the same, and if it happens, it'll be because Nintendo has to mature to be like Sony, not the other way around. That just doesn't make sense to me. You know how much they would lose trying to conform to be a Nintendo type of company? You know, makes no sense to me. Sony then goes on to reveal that Xbox Game Pass has 29 million subscribers, admitting that the new PlayStation Plus tiers is substantially behind it. I don't know what they mean by substantially, if it means half, like they have 15 million or 10, less than 10 maybe. I don't know, but honestly, I think 29 million is low. Like when you're talking like 200 million gamers potentially in America, you have Europe, Asia, and all you can garner is 29 million. You know, obviously both of these subscription services, I think they might have cold feet. You know, they're not going in as hard, especially now with Microsoft. They seem to be, you know, hitting the brake pedals a little bit because they don't have much this year. They had like 10 games. Majority of them were indie games. You know, I don't see the appeal of Game Pass. I do think it's overrated, but I do think when you compare the two, they both have their pros and cons. Like Xbox has a lot more nostalgia factor. They have a big back catalog of awesome games that if you haven't played in 20 years, it's a good time. Versus PlayStation, that they have a couple games, but it's not worth the extra payment that you have to make. But if you look at it like if you get the extra tier, you usually get a lot of new games every month, right? You get new great games every month. Xbox Game Pass, you get a couple games that hit or miss, you know? Like there's some games on my Game Pass right now that I haven't downloaded because I don't care. I don't care about Gungrave Gore, I think it was. I'm not really that interested. You know, it looked like a Borderlands game, but really, really shitty quality. You know, so I don't know what people are really comparing. They're completely different, really. But Xbox Game Pass and PlayStation Plus are both kind of in the shitter. You know, if you're talking Microsoft with how much money they have to back Game Pass, and you're only getting 29 million, that's kind of a loss to me. I think that's depressing. But everybody talks it up. It doesn't make sense to me how everybody talks up Game Pass like it's this huge thing. I barely use my Xbox. It's fucking weird. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a minority case and I don't play. Maybe it's like if you just have Game Pass, like that's the only thing you have, then yeah, you have a lot to play and you're forced to play it because you have nothing else. But I don't see that. I don't get it. Overall, I don't know if this deal is going to go through, this Activision acquisition. I don't think it's going to be as smooth as people were expecting to go, you know, but it would be crazy. It would be nuts to see Microsoft's plans just fall flat and they have to rethink some stuff. But I don't know. I don't know if it's going to go through. We're going to find out more probably in the new year, January, February, but I think we're going to learn the most in probably April, May, right before they hopefully get this in June, but I don't know. We're gonna have to find out. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Is it gonna go through or is it gonna get denied?